Our next chapter is biodiversity and its conservation. Let us see what is the meaning of biodiversity. Biodiversity means variety of living organisms from all sources, that is terrestrial, marine and other aquatic ecosystems, and all ecological complexes, that is diversity within the species and diversity between different species. So these varieties of organisms, it forms biodiversity. Or simply we can define biodiversity as variety and variability of life on earth. That is variety, different types, जितनी भी different type की species available है earth पे, they constitute that biodiversity, that is variety and variability of life on earth. In previous classes we have done that whole of the living world is divided into 5 kingdoms. What are those kingdoms? It is Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. The whole living world is divided into the 5 kingdoms, and these 5 kingdoms, they are further subdivided into kingdoms. They are further divided into phylums. They are divided into classes, and class is divided into order, then family, genus and species. So in this chapter we are going to see the biodiversity, what is the meaning of biodiversity and how it can be conserved. On our planet Earth, we can see various varieties of a huge number of varieties of different species. For example, there are available more than 20,000 species of ants. Beetles, the species available for beetles on the earth is around 3 lakhs. More than 20,000 species of fishes they exist, and there exist around 20,000 species of orchids. The term biodiversity was coined by Edward Wilson, a sociobiologist who described diversity at all the levels of biological organization. There are 3 levels of biodiversity at biological organization. Number 1 is the genetic diversity. A single species, it may show high diversity at genetic level. For example, the medicinal plant Rolfia vomitoria, it is growing in different Himalayan ranges, and it shows a huge variety in terms of potency and concentration of active chemical, that is respirin. Another example of genetic biodiversity is that there are available 50,000 genetically different strains of rice in India only. And in India we can also find 1,000 varieties of mangoes. So these 3 examples, that is Wolfia vomitoria, different strains of rice and different varieties of mangoes. These show the genetic diversity in biological organization. Second type is the species diversity. The diversity which occurs at species level is called species diversity. Example is that the Western Ghat, the amphibian species diversity is much more greater than the Eastern Ghats. It means We can see more variety of amphibians in the Western Ghat than in the Eastern Ghats. Then comes the third type of diversity, that is the ecological diversity. At ecosystem level, India is divided into deserts, rainforest, mangroves, coral reefs, wetlands, estuaries, and alpine meadows. So, these they show greater ecosystem diversity. India's ecosystem diversity is much more greater than the Scandinavian country like Norway. Or if we compare the biodiversity of India and Norway, then India shows much more ecological diversity than Norway.